What's up, YouTube? My name is Gerardo Byrne. I am starting up a sports page talking about all types of sports games, anything going on in the world today with sports. This is my first ever video. Going to be talking about game one of the finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, this is talking about sports is something I've always wanted to do, so I'm starting up a page, something I'm hoping I follow in my career going down the line. But anyway, I want to get to talking about game one of the NBA Finals. First off, what a game. What a game. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be that close. I had Golden State by 10, 15 maybe. But, you know, I give a lot of respect to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the fight that they showed. You know, LeBron James, 51 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. You know, not much more you can do. And one thing I'm definitely going to get to is the charge that was overturned to a block, and J.R. Smith and what he was thinking. So, you know, at the start of the game, you know, battle back and forth, tight game, close game. You know, LeBron's doing his thing. You know, giving the Warriors the business, and then, you know, Steph Curry, you know, keeping them close in the first half. You know, I thought series definitely was going to change when J.R. Smith took a dive at Klay Thompson's legs going for a loose ball. It wasn't a dirty play, basketball, you know what happens. But I thought Klay Thompson was going to be out for at least a couple weeks because, you know, by the way he reacted to the injury, you know, it made it seem like it was a pretty serious knee injury. But respect to him coming back. And then just, you know, throughout the game, talking about, you know, Kevin Love for his first game back, you know, he was pretty solid. You know, first half just going back and forth, and then I thought it was a mistake by J.R. Smith on the last play before the half to go for the steal when he didn't. So that left Steph Curry wide open from a range that he always practices in warm-up. So it was a regular three-pointer to him, and he hit it going 56-56 at the half. But, you know, going into the half, if you're a Cleveland fan, you know, you feel good about where you're at game one on the road, and you're tied with Golden State. But you're also aware that the third quarter is a game is where most of the games change, because that's when Golden State comes out and, you know, just obliterates their opponents, as you saw in Houston when it got, and especially the last two games, the third quarter is when Golden State came out and just turned it on, and then that's when they would turn the game around, and that's where they would relatively take control of the game. And so if you're a Cleveland fan, you know, that's definitely on top of your mind. And then if you're a Golden State fan, you're thinking the onslaught is coming. And then to start the third quarter, they did. So they went on a quick 10-3 run. They went up 7, so you start to think that, okay, here it comes. It's coming. But then, you know, Cleveland battles back, ties the game, takes the lead, and all of a sudden, going into the fourth quarter, we got a nail biter on our hands. And so going into the fourth quarter, you know, I kind of expected what we were getting, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, LeBron doing LeBron, and then the Warriors go on a run. I think they go up 5 or 7 down the stretch, and then Cleveland comes all the way back, and they take the lead as LeBron's willing them. And throughout the game, you know, you had the feeling that Cleveland was going to take the game. I mean, I did. I thought Cleveland was going to have game one. I was thinking, like, okay, you know, this is going to be a much more competitive series than I thought going into it. And so, you know, Cleveland takes the lead after LeBron does what LeBron does. It then goes up 104-102 with either a minute or a little bit under a minute to go. And then, as you know, Kevin Durant drives and hits LeBron, and LeBron falls. And initially, the ref calls a charge. And then the rule states that late in the fourth quarter, if charge or block is called, they can review it and then change the call. And all y'all know that the call was eventually changed to a block. And what my thoughts about that is, I didn't think it should be changed. You know, in the heat of battle, I think when you make a call, you stick with that call. So the call was a charge. And then with them overturning it, obviously, that everybody starts to think where the conspiracy theories come from, where Golden State gets every call, that the league is rigged and all that stuff. You know what? With calls like that, you kind of understand why people think that. But, okay, so the call happened. He hits the 2 free throws. It's a tie ball game. And then LeBron comes down, hits a shot. They go up 2. Okay, so despite of all that, yes, take those 2 free throws away, they're up 4, and all the stuff and the rest of the situation of the game doesn't have to happen, but it does. And so, coming from as an athlete myself, when something happens that you can't control, you got to move past it, especially in game 1 of the finals. And so, they're up 2 with less than a minute to go, so they still got a chance. Now all they got to do is get a stop. And then that's obviously when the and 1 happened with Steph Curry, and he hits the free throw, so they go up 1. And so now they got the ball with the final, I think, 23 seconds on the clock, and they're dribbling it out. And you saw Klay Thompson foul George Hill, and he goes to the line with 4.7 seconds left. So he hits both free throws. They go up 1, and they need 1 stop, and they win the game. And then he hits the first one, ties it up. Then he misses the second one. J.R. Smith grabs the rebound over Kevin Durant. He then takes the ball, dribbles all the way to half court, and then passes it to George Hill with no time, and he goes into overtime. And you look at J.R. Smith, and, that's unacceptable. You can't, you're in the NBA Finals, you got to know what time, score, situation, and everything is. You've played almost 100 games in the season. There's no excuse for you not knowing the situation of the game. No excuse at all. You look up at the scoreboard before the free throws taken. You know what the situation is going into the free throw. So, as a player, you have to know what the situation is. So Cleveland has another chance to win the game in it. And a mental mistake cost them. And then, honestly, at that point, yeah, it was going into overtime, but you can kind of get the sense that the game was over because Cleveland was so distraught by that play that they went back to the huddle. None of them said a word to each other. Just the body language of them changed. And it kind of like took the fight out of them. And as you saw, Golden State seized that opportunity and came out in the overtime and just completely took over. Outscored them by 10. I think it was 17-7. Everybody went off. And you just tell that last play took all the fight that Cleveland had out of them. Because the team that we saw in the first 4 quarters wasn't that team we saw in overtime. And so, Cleveland had their opportunities despite the referees. We all know that there have been questionable calls with Golden State. But, even with that being, the Cavs still had opportunities to win the game. And, they just couldn't seize it. And ultimately, Golden State ended up taking the game, up 1-0 in the series. That's definitely a tough game to bounce back from, especially knowing that you were so close to stealing game 1 on the road. I mean, one thing about LeBron James is, arguably the greatest player to ever live. So he's going to come back ready. Cleveland going to come back. And you know what? It's going to be an exciting series. Thank you. First video ever in the books. And I will continue with more as the finals progress.